Hello, welcome to ReGrown podcast. This is Nate.
And I'm Jordan. Welcome back to this week's episode. Today we're going to be talking about mindset and how that's important to the development of the series.
The mindset's a very important thing because I believe everyone nowadays has a fragile mindset. And if you don't think you do and you're offended when I say that you have a fragile mindset, you just may have a fragile mindset.
Yeah, that is definitely, I think, the case too. A lot of people nowadays don't understand what it is to be strong-minded, and I'm still trying to figure that out for myself too. But nobody actually takes the time out of their day to focus on the internal things that's going on within your own brain, which plays the biggest role in changing your circumstances and the world around you.
Excellently said, Jordan. With that, we can look at it on all aspects of life. Whether, oh man, you have a negative mindset about school. Yeah, school sucks, but guess what? Everyone has to go get a 4-year degree. You can have a negative mindset on the military. Oh, I hate being in the military. It sucks. But guess what? There's veterans out there who did it for 4+ years as well. And things like that. If you're sensitive to what other people say to you, you just may have a fragile mindset. If someone calls me some weird name like, oh, you're a nerd. All right, so what? I'm a nerd. Or, all right, I know I'm not a nerd, so I'm not going to get offended by it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and yeah, people definitely need to build that strong mind, that mental clarity to be able to withstand the pressures of society regardless of where it's coming from. And if you have a strong mind, regardless of what anybody says or thinks or feels or acts towards you, it's not going to matter. Actually, a couple days ago, I got called a bitch by some dude that pulled up next to me at a CVS for no reason. And I kind of got a little bit heated from it, but then I realized I was just a low vibrational kind of guy. You know, he probably doesn't even understand himself. And it's crazy in my eyes that people go out of the way to try to bring somebody else down. But the people and you guys in general, the viewers, should also realize that the only person that you should seek validation from is within yourself. And we live in a society where everyone is trying to seek validations from others. You know, we see that with the Instagram and freaking YouTube and this and that, clout chasing. But none of that stuff really matters unless, you're comfortable within yourself. And a lot of people rely on these fake forms of validation to get that dopamine rush in their brain. But it's wrong. That's not how you're going to find happiness within yourself or in life.
And to find happiness out there, there's certain things that we have to understand, like the conscious discipline pyramid, and then there's also the different dimensions we live in. So to dive into that, if our listeners can draw out a pyramid real fast and draw your first line, the base, and that will be your mindset. With that, the mindset is what we are attacking today and having people listen to their minds and the voice inside their head and knowing what is good for them and what is bad for them, essentially. So if my mind is telling me, hey, I should quit smoking, or hey, I should go to the gym, my mind's trying to tell me to do a positive thing. And it's not trying to tell me to do a negative thing, because what benefit am I getting if I don't go to the gym? Or what benefit am I getting when I smoke? You know what I mean, Jordan?
Yes, I agree. That's definitely important. And I think change, regardless, starts from within, starts from the mind. Your mind controls every aspect of your life. It controls your future, your destiny, where you're going to go, how you look, and how you feel. So the number one thing, and this is why this episode is so early on in the podcast, is taking control of your mind. Because if you can take control of your mind, you'll start to see the physical world around you, your spirit, everything will start to feel better. Making those conscious choices to change your lifestyle, your set of thinking. And, everybody has some sort of trauma, so there's not really an excuse to not take charge of yourself or your mind. And was it last episode you say people aren't responsible for their trauma, but they're responsible for their self-healing? And I think that resonates deeply, and that should resonate deeply to a lot of people.
Yes, excellently said. With this pyramid, there's going to be 5 things you're going to put in there. So I can have you build your pyramid now. The first thing that's going to be at the base of the pyramid, that is going to be your mindset. The level above that will be the energy. The level above that will be physical. The level above that will be community. And the level above that will be spirit. So when we dive down into the next part of this pyramid, which is the energy, what kind of energy are you feeding your mind, and what is it trained to do? Do you think everything in a negative way, or do you think everything in a positive way? How is this a hassle to me? Or, hey, what did I learn from this? I don't make the same mistake next time. That way I can try and make myself a little happier by knowing, hey, I actually learned something from this. It wasn't a waste of my time. Or am I going to put positive energy behind, hey, yeah, I should go to the gym. Like, it's going to be good for me. I'm going to get a six-pack. I'm going to get some big muscles. I'm going to become more flexible, become a faster runner, whatever it may be a faster swimmer. And then after you put that energy behind it with that mindset, you start digging into the physical realm of things. And that's when you can start seeing your six-pack come in. And you can start seeing that, hey, I'm losing weight. I'm feeling good. Or you can see, hey, I'm getting muscle. I'm looking good. I know more girls are going to look at me.
And more women are approaching or giving you choosing signals, you know. I started noticing that when we first started going to the gym, you know, we didn't really get much attention. Look how much attention we've been getting now, because we've been putting that desire to change, to manifest our physical being through our mind. We made that decision that we're going to create superhuman physiques, and we can now start to see how physically we're changing, but not only that, the people around us. And that goes up towards the conscious discipline pyramid that Nate was talking about earlier. Those small changes will lead into bigger and bigger changes. You know, it starts off with the mindset, and then it goes to the energy you put out. Like, once you fix your mindset, you can control the energy that you receive and put off. You'll start to see yourself physically change, and then people will be attracted to that. And then, you know, you will grow into the best version of yourself as long as you stay disciplined. But the thing is if you give up one of those things, or your discipline falls on one thing, that whole pyramid's going to collapse, and it's hard to put it back together. So, and that's where discipline comes in. And motivation and discipline are two very different things. Your motivation is how you feel about getting something done. Your discipline is doing it even on the days you don't want to do it.
That's facts. And when we delve into the physical section of this pyramid, think of yourself as a radio broadcasting tower of your energy. And that's where Jordan was talking about that people are attracted to you. They're going to see that good energy that you're putting out. They're going to see that you're taking care of yourself. And people are going to be looking at you because they want your energy. They want the mindset that you have. They want your whole physical being, essentially, because you're looking good. The energy you have behind the things that you are doing, it's positive. And therefore, the mindset you have behind the things that you're doing, because you're benefiting yourself. And it's going to sound selfish, only yourself, but in the long run, it's not only for yourself. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. Mm-hmm. And that's why we jump into the community next. So with the community, since you're a radio broadcasting tower of your energy and all of this, people are going to be attracted to hang out with you because similar people hang out.
Exactly. It's a law of attraction. You know, that one quote Lil Baby says, I've been hanging around some millionaires. It's safe to say it's rubbing off. Like, yeah, it might be from a rap song, but that definitely is a legitimate thing. You know, who you surround yourself with is who you eventually become. So why not build yourself to become the best person you can be, so you can attract like-minded individuals who are going to help you grow. And, you know, and once you develop that self-love, you're not going to really be worried about keeping those negative energies in your life. And a lot of people who hate others for being successful, I don't necessarily think they hate you for being successful. They hate themselves for not being able to put in the same amount of work that you were able to do, you know? So there's that.
And they use their self-hate to hate you. So do not let other people's hate get to you. Know the energy and the intent behind everything that you are doing, and stay truthful to yourself and to others. That way you will walk in the light and no one can tell you you are wrong. And when you build this community, as I was saying and as Jordan was saying, he was saying the little baby lyrics, when you hang out with these people, they're going to help you strive to be an even better you. Because guess what? It's just not you keeping you disciplined at this time. Your friends are going to call you out for some BS. And that's the kind of energy you want to surround yourself with. You don't want to... It's good to go out to the club. It's good to go out to a bar every once in a while. You get some relax and rest, essentially. And you've been on the ground so hard. You have to treat yourself once in a while. But is it treating yourself if you're going out every night and drinking?
Yeah.
No, that's spoiling yourself beyond your means and beyond your means of living, essentially. Do you really have enough money to be going out and drinking every night? I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have enough money to go out and drink every night and pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? So lots of people get caught up in spending their money and thinking they don't have money. But in reality, they just changed their mindset and some of the behavior that they're doing that's caused by their mind because they train their minds to think in that way. They could see a big improvement in their life and in the others' lives around them because they are that radio broadcasting tower.
Yep. But I also say that it's important to be wary of who you surround yourself with as well. There's some people who, no matter what, are going to drag you down. And I'm not saying to like give up on those that you love, but if it is needed, you have for yourself to grow, you do got to create some sort of separation. Otherwise, then
the separations could also mean boundaries.
Yeah, setting up boundaries. You know, if you've been trying to help somebody for so long, you know, that saying misery loves company is true. You know, you got to be able to set up that boundary. You know, you can still love somebody from a distance. Like, that's okay. And if they can't respect the fact that they're bringing you down with them, then, you know, then maybe they're not, you know, meant to be in your life. And that doesn't have to just be with friends. You know, it could also be with family and stuff like that. And if you're trying to better yourself and better your circumstance and, you know, you got to do ultimately what's best for you and forget what anybody else thinks. You know, there's a lot of hate. There's going to be a lot of people who have opinions of who you should be as a person, but the only person we should seek validation from, not from social media, this and that and all that crap. The only person you should seek validation from is from within yourself.
Facts. And when you seek validation within yourself, you know morally what is wrong and right for yourself. And that's where you get into everyone has a different mind and the individuality as we got into episode 1 in humans. We are all our own individual beings and we all think a little bit differently. If we all thought alike, the world would be a very, very boring place. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't. It would be black and white if everyone thought the same. And that's kind of a beautiful thing about our world is that we all think differently. I guarantee you some of our listeners don't think the way that we do, and I think some of our listeners probably have a better mindset than us, but it's just getting up every morning and being, hey, how can I improve my mind? How can I improve myself just in general and be the best me? Not for anyone else, but do the best for me. That way later on when I want to help other people and I have a bigger purpose to serve and to help people find themselves. You can't help people find themselves if you haven't found yourself. That would just be hypocritical.
Yeah. I mean, that takes a long time to find yourself. But a lot of people numb themselves. That's why they never find themselves or find their true selves. That's why I think it's important not to, you know, as you were saying earlier, go to the club, get drunk, get high all the time. You know, like, reward yourself. If you are going to smoke weed, which, you know, I'm kind of not doing that anymore. If you are going to do it after you get all your productive stuff out of the way. You know, like there's times to grind and there's times to like chill. A lot of people need to find that separation. And honestly, I think a lot of these things like nicotine, alcohol, drugs, they're made to numb you. And why do you think a lot of people turn to those things during hard times, like death of a loved one, a breakup, this and that? You know, emotions are good for a certain, they are good. You should be able to feel how you're feeling and, like recognize that. And that's how you grow and that's how you learn as a person. But I also do recommend that, it's important to be in touch with your sober self to figure out where you're going to be and stop numbing that voice in your head, which a lot of people do. And this is why a lot of people are unhappy, because they don't know where they're going. They have no sense of direction and they try to look for it from outside sources, but that direction comes from within, and it's never too late to change. I don't care if you're 15, 20, 30, 50, even 60. It's never too late to change.
With that too, with the mindset, I always love to say this, and I say it to everyone that I meet, is do not react, but take action. Because when we let our emotions react for us, it's usually not a pretty thing that happens. It's usually not the best outcome that we could have chose for that. But instead, if we could have emotional control, yes, I get mad, I get sad, I get happy. I have all the emotions as we all do, because guess what? Emotions comes with being a human. But we have to be able to control these emotions and not have them react for us, but we have to be able to take action and know, hey, this happened. What can I say, or what can I do that will ultimately be the best decision? And that is not being quiet. You have to be assertive with the things you want as well, and don't let people walk on you. Because if people mistake your kindness for a weakness and you keep letting them do that, and you're not saying anything for your own self-respect, and they just going to keep walking on you, they will continue and continue and continue to do this because you are not respecting yourself. And people will notice that. If you have no respect for yourself, why are they going to respect you?
Yep. That's for sure. Without self-respect, no one else will respect you. I've had my self-doubts and self-confidence issues before in the past, and, I didn't even respect myself until even more recently. But, it took essentially diving deep into like the red room, into the deepest and darkest thoughts of my mind in order for me to find that motivation to change and to grow. I think sometimes people have to reach, the abyss, the absolute bare bottom, in order to pull themselves out of it, and I think that made me a stronger person, being depressed, lack of purpose, and feeling anxious and angry, like I got tired of feeling that way. And there's a lot of people listening that feel that way, same way too, but you should use the pain and trauma as motivation to change your circumstances in life, like there's, and it's such bullshit for people to think that they're not good enough for anything. You see what people have accomplished. You see people come from the mud and grow up to be super successful millionaires. And it's all about having that mindset, that entrepreneurial mindset, that business mindset, that growing mindset, that mindset where you can conquer the world around you. And it starts first from within and conquering yourself.
That is the truth. And when you conquer yourself, you can start conquering other things around you, and you start thinking in a different way when you are happy with yourself. You say, how can I help myself even more? How can I help others even more? When you're walking into a room, I like smiling at people, and the people who smile back, I know that they have good energy to give back, because I still smile on my shitty days. Say I don't. Ask anyone that knows me. I am constantly smiling. There is nothing that can stop my smile. Boot camp didn't stop my smile. They called me Smiley in boot camp. They said that the Marine Corps was going to ruin my smile. Guess what? Never ruined my smile. I stayed true to myself. And yes, I did have my highs and I had my lows. But I smiled through it all, because even smiling throughout the day will help you make you feel better. And it's proven. It releases the endorphins in your brain to make you feel better. Whether you're smiling for 20 seconds or the whole day, I'm gonna have wrinkles here soon because I'm smiling so much. And that's not a bad thing, but the people who are so caught up in their own emotions and their own hate for themselves or others, whoever it may be, you can sense who those people are. And guess what? you intimidate those people. When they see that you're having a shitty day and you can smile through it, they're not strong enough to smile through it at this point in their life, and they can't comprehend your reality or your sense of the world, because they say this man is having the worst day of his life, but yet here he is still smiling. It makes no sense to me. And guess what? Everyone's mind's different. So yeah, it won't make sense to people. But I think most people who are actually trying to enable their life to be better and to hit their best thumb, they know what they have to do day in and day out. And even when I'm not feeling the greatest, I still try and help and motivate people, because I'm not going to let my own emotions get in the way of having me help people grow. That is one of my biggest goals, and that's Jordan and I's biggest goal with this podcast, ReGrown, is to help people be the best them. I'm not saying no one is wrong here. I'm not saying anyone is right here. But I'm saying you are you, and you ultimately know who you are on the inside and what makes you happy and what doesn't. But I can guarantee you that the alcohol, drugs, and all that are not making you happy, but suppressing you from being you.
Yep, they're numbing you and creating a bigger void. But my question to you, Nate, is, and I feel like a lot of viewers might also have this question, is what can they do to change? You know, like, where do they start? I think we covered that first with, trying to take control of your mind by, trying to have that clear mind. So being sober, not getting fucked up every day. But like, what else? I think, people should also read. I think reading is important, because when you read, you experience different perspectives. And I've been doing some readings right now on 2 different books. One is Think and Grow Rich, which is pretty much about the law of attraction, being able to manifest your reality and not being like, I want to have $1 million, so I'm going to have $1 million. But, like, having that desire and creating that vision, that plan of action to get there. And a lot of people want shit, but they don't create the vision behind it. Like, the vision, I think, is important. And I feel like if people read books like that, they would get to a place where they can, make those changes. Books, offer you perspectives that you originally wouldn't have thought of before.
Yes, I completely agree with that, Jordan. You just made me think about another thing I missed touching on in the episode earlier, and that was the dimensions. I told everyone I was going to talk about the dimensions, and I think it's clear, should be a known thing to understand the different dimensions and to be able to see them differently. So with that, I'll talk about my 2 books and then jump into the dimensions. I'm reading 2 books right now. One is called Beautiful Outlaw. That's about the personality of Jesus Christ and how it's not what religion makes it think it is. Lots of religion is black and white. Oh, Jesus was this guy who just saved people, or he was this guy who was stern, whatever, but they miss the playfulness side, and we can see the world is playful with us a lot, if you know what I mean exactly by that. And I think that's a misconception that people have, is that we have to just be this dry person and just be total monk mode without any mistakes in our life, because we all are going to make mistakes as humans and all that. And the other book that I'm reading is called Negroes and the Gun, and I'm taking notes on both of these books. But Negroes and the Gun is about African Americans and their rights being suppressed back in the times of slavery, and how they had to have guns to fight off like the KKK and these extreme people who were trying to hurt them. And it's basically talking about how important the Second Amendment is for us people in being able to defend ourselves. And that's also why we have the Second Amendment, just in case the government becomes too powerful. Who's going to take the power back from the government? And that's going to be the people. But lots of people aren't even comfortable with guns, and lots of people don't even want people to have guns. They only want the government to.
Yep. And a lot of people don't understand the history because they don't read.
Exactly. I'm not going to touch on that subject too much. That'll be for another episode. But it's just something to think about and to maybe rewire your brain. And that's the freedom over fear kind of thing. Why are you going to sacrifice someone else's freedom for someone else's fear? And I don't completely understand that. I'm trying to understand both sides, but some of these things just don't make sense to me. But with that, I'll be talking about the five dimensions. There's more than five. There's like 11 or 13, I think it is. I think 13 is when it starts collapsing, or 11. I have to check back on that. But I know the first five pretty good. The first dimension is hell. We make our own hell on earth, essentially. And this is where we're stuck in our self-hate and hate for others, and we're depressed, confused, anxious, always mad. And we're just thinking with that one emotion on a constant timeline. And yes, we live in the 3D world, but your mind can be stuck in the 1D.
Yeah, because there's different, to bounce off of that to make it a little bit more detailed for people who don't really understand. These are different conscious levels of thinking. There's 5-dimensional levels of thinking, and as Nate was saying earlier, that 1-dimensional thinking is literally, I would even say, like not even primal, like worse than primal mode. That's like you have no purpose, no goals, no future. You're literally just breathing in oxygen, going day to day, a depressed cesspool of emotion and sadness.
And these are the people who are hypersensitive to everything. You can't joke about them, to them, without their feelings getting hurt. If you say, "Oh, I'm better than you," as a joking way, they're gonna get upset and they're gonna get mad and say, "Oh, you hurt my feelings." Well, bro, it was a joke. You can tell when people have an intent behind a joke, and you can tell when people are trying to be disrespectful. And I think lots of people are missing that nowadays. And everyone's just so hypersensitive, and no one feels like they can joke or be playful anymore because so many people are sensitive and they're stuck in this 1D mindset. And people need to knock that off. I'm not going to stop being playful and joking just because your feelings get hurt. And if that's you, you can remove yourself from my life, because I mean no ill intent behind it. I will never try and put an ill intent behind my words, because I know that's not worth it, and that's not the energy I'm trying to invest into the world.
Yeah, and 1D mindset, I think, embodies self-doubt, confidence issues, low self-esteem, suicidal ideations. Would you agree with that?
I completely agree with that. And if any of my friends are stuck in the 1D and they don't know how to talk about it, you can reach out to me. If you have my number, text me. You can follow me on Instagram, Nathor, NATHOR_Wallman, WALLMAN. Jordan will throw his out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I'll just put it in the description.
All right. And I don't mind helping people who are trying to help themselves. But if people are just going to sit there and try and leech off my energy, I have a time frame for you. And if I don't see any improvement and you're not trying to help yourself just at least help yourself to the smallest extent, then I'm going to give up on you, because you already given up on yourself. And if you are trying to help yourself, you're trying to bring yourself to a better place, I am more than willing to help anyone or anything try and get there to the 5D. So that will bring me to the next dimension, which is the 2D. A shitload of y'all are stuck in this 2D mindset.
Yeah.
This is the internet.
TV shows, yeah.
Cell phones, your iPads, your iPods.
You're glued on your 2-dimensional screens all day, learning, interested in stuff that really doesn't matter, as we were saying in episode 1, like who Kim K and Kanye West, Jeffree Star incidents, and stuff like that, like the shit that really doesn't matter. Sports games, things that have no higher purpose. 2-dimensional level of thinking. You're not necessarily depressed, but you're not necessarily going anywhere.
Exactly. And lots of these things our entertainment. But when are we supposed to entertain ourselves? When we finish everything that we have to do, when we got our grind done. That's when we can go watch a TV show. We can go on our phones, see what the world is up to. Hey, let everyone know, hey, I'm doing good today. What about y'all? I love just posting on Instagram, making sure everyone's good. And I like posting inspirational things. Since the beginning in November, I lost 23 pounds. I think I can brag about that.
Yeah, I was when we left Minnesota, which was like
The beginning of November.
I think it was like the 7th or 8th of November. I was like 197. You were like almost 200.
I was 200.
You were 200, and now we're both in the 170s. Like we lost pounds upon pounds of body fat in a 2-month time span. So like it's definitely feasible for somebody who weighs like 300 pounds to lose that much weight even faster. It's just discipline.
Exactly, and that's your mindset. And you know that isn't healthy for you to be that big. So why do you still choose to be that big? That's my question for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They don't realize it's a choice. It is a choice.
It is. Just let me put this out there real fast. I said this in episode 1. Just because you're born in the hood does not mean you have to be hood forever. Just because you're born in the country doesn't mean you have to be country hick forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You are your own individual person. Guess what? There's a whole world to go travel. A whole world of things to go see. Go find what you like best.
Yeah, exactly. But people are afraid of change. But once you conquer that fear, you feel like Jesus Christ reincarnated, like straight up. Once you conquer that fear, you can accomplish anything. And it becomes kind of like an addiction, when you start to see your body change and your mindset change, this and that. Like, honestly, even last night when we went out and had a couple of drinks, like I didn't even get drunk. I just, I didn't feel normal. I was like, damn, I'd rather be grinding, So like I used to go party and drink 2-3 times in a weekend. Now we're doing it like once a month tops, and
once a month is our limit. We said 2, but I'm not down for 2. I like 1. Once a month is a good treat for myself to go out and just go get rowdy, go relax and rest and just have fun, not be on monk mode.
Yeah, but I mean, but once I have that one time a month, like I feel good to just, be disciplined again. And, now I'm at the point in my life where before, like, the only thing I wanted to do was just get through the day and get fucked up after work. Now it's like, I don't want to do that. Like, if I'm not grinding, like, I don't feel happy,
Exactly. So back to this 2D world stuff. We'll jump more into the 3D, which we were just talking about there. But back to the 2D. If you just get home and you didn't make dinner yet, and you throw on your TV, and you sit there for 3 hours and watch your TV without making dinner, whether you're single, whether you have a family, whether you are a single parent, if you have to support you and the others around you before you start entertaining yourself. And this is a thing that our minds have been trained to do. We have these little dog whistles on our phones called notifications. Oh man, I gotta get back to this person right away because they text me, or I have to answer this call because they're calling me right now. No, you don't. You have to take time for you first. You have to do what you have to do first. And if it's important, guess what? They'll leave a message. If it's important, they will text you. And you can answer that when you find time. Don't be that asshole who replies a month later and just be like, "Oh, I just saw this. Sorry." No, don't be that asshole. But guess what? You can take 30 minutes to reply. You can take an hour to reply. You can take 2 hours to reply. When you find a little gap in your time, find a little gap in your grind, that's when you do it. That's when you take the time out for others and give them your time and energy. But you have to invest it into you. And until you get an abundance of this time and energy, because you've been doing it on a grind, I wouldn't do it right away. Then this is where another thing is, where I said earlier, do not react, but take action. Guess what? If you think about that text for 30 minutes, guarantee you, after 30 minutes of thinking about that text, you have a better way to reply than 1 minute after thinking about that text.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that's pretty much all the 2-dimensional. So we go into 3D?
Oh, yes, let's dive into this 3D, the materialistic world, the world we all live
And
in.
that's just the world in its natural self is 3-dimensional. The rocks, the mountains, the buildings, the people,
The smells,
the animals, the weather.
hearing things, seeing things, tasting things.
Yeah, this is where humanity is supposed to, well, this is where humans in the physical self are supposed to be. That's like the survival instinct. All right, I'm going to reproduce. I need water. I need food. Ouch, that hurts. I'm going to stay away from it.
The basics.
The basic shit. That's the world that we're, that's the world that we are born into.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So with that, we get caught up in this 3D world. 4D, I'll say this now, it's higher consciousness. That is your 4D. But back to 3D, we live in this 3D world, so we are not using our 4D higher consciousness. We just think about things in this world and, oh, what's the next cutest girl I can sleep with? Or
Yeah.
who's the hottest guy at the gym that I can go up and talk to, spot me or whatever?
Or like, I need to get this degree so I can get this job.
Yeah, and it's things like that. Is it things that are gonna matter when you die? Is it things that people are necessarily going to remember? Oh, he loved McDonald's so much. Like, I want that on my fucking gravestone? Hell no. I'll be damned if anyone puts that on my gravestone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, humans in general bounce in between all of these dimensions. It's about conquering them, though. But the playing field starts off at the third dimension. Like 1 and 2. The 1 and 2 dimensions are part of the third dimension. It's all kind of together. But
they all overlap.
Exactly. But we're specifically talking about the mindset right now, not so much the actual dimensional, like the metaphysics behind dimension. We're talking about dimensional thinking. So the third dimension is pretty much what your average Joe is. Your beta buck. Okay, this is what I gotta do. This weekend, I'm going to have a couple beers with the homies, and then I'm going to go back to work on Monday. That's like your third dimensional level of thinking.
Yes. So now we understand the 3D. Let's jump into the 4D.
This is where it gets fun.
I love thinking on a 4D level. This is where the most fun people love to think at. And guess what? There's even one higher than that, and that's the 5D. And that's your divine self, the most perfect you that we are all working towards.
So you have to conquer the first 4 before you can hit the 5.
Exactly. So the 4D is the voice in your head. Not that synthetic voice. I have a little synthetic voice in my head, and that's the little deceiver voice in me. And that's where, like, the evil is, between, like, the good and evil, truth and lie kind of thing. Your mind lies to you because we trained our minds to lie to us for the past 23 years. And you have to be able to distinguish these lies from the truth in your head.
It's just like a nicotine addiction. You don't need nicotine. You're not going to die if you don't have your nicotine, but yet people still get that addiction. That's the brain lying, that's where the rewiring of the brain is necessary.
I need it. I'm going to die though, Jordan.
I don't know. It's been 15 days since I quit smoking nicotine, and I'm not gonna lie, that first week I thought I needed it, but 2 weeks later, almost 3 weeks now, I realized that it was, I'm at the point where I'm taking control of my brain. I'm rewiring it now. And every day, I'm not perfect, but every day I'm trying to get better and better. And I am hard on myself, and I like being hard on myself, because when I am hard on myself, I realize that, sometimes in order to kill the inner bitch, you got to realize that you are a bitch. So sometimes I fucking do that, and I'm not going to lie, sometimes I realize that I'm, I have that bitchy attitude. And when I say bitchy attitude, I'm not talking about being mean, but I'm talking about I can't do this and that. You got to kill that inner bitch every single day. And I started doing that by, 1, taking control of my mind and taking control of what I put into my body. I eat healthier. I don't crave this bullshit like Hot Pockets, Burger King. I do like Taco Bell sauce. That's never
Hey,
gonna change.
that's not gonna leave our life anytime soon, buddy. We're not giving up that Taco Bell
Oh
sauce.
hell no! But like alcohol, weed, nicotine, like this
Nick,
shit was controlling my life on a daily basis. And now going weeks, days, this and that, not even touching it, being completely sober, and I'm taking control of my own thoughts. It feels amazing. It feels empowering. And now I'm starting to think on a higher level of who I am as a person, on a spiritual level, deeper than that, like where I'm gonna be in the future, where am I gonna be when I die. All this fourth dimensional level of thinking outside of the box, seeing through the societal lies and the bullshit that society forces down our throats. All these type of things encompass, fourth dimensional level of thinking.
and guess what? With all these things, they all produce mental fogginess for us, and it makes it harder to distinguish the truth and the lie within our own brains. And the 4D thinking even partakes in how are you treating others? How are you standing up for yourself? And yes, standing up for yourself is a 4D thing, but it's also a 3D thing. Because guess what? If someone hits me for no reason, you best believe I'm going to hit them back. I'm just not going to let anyone just slap me. And that's a conscious decision that we have to make. I'm not going to cower down in fear and think, oh, it's going to be someone else's life or it's going to be my life before someone else's because I'm just going to be a coward and let them kill me, essentially. And that's a mindset that people have to dive into. Are you really going to cut your time short because you don't want to be violent as you are called for sticking up for yourself? No, that's not being violent. That's called self-defense and self-respect.
Yeah, what about nowadays if you have your own independent opinion, it's now considered inciting violence. This is what I'm talking about, where society is throwing these bullshit freaking labels. And part of being 4 and 5D is being an independent free thinker. And you could also see society is now trying to kill that by creating this hive-minded shit. And this is why we also have this podcast, is for you guys to wake up and be your own independent person. Because no, you are not inciting violence for having your own opinion, despite what the MSM, the mainstream media, whoever the hell it is, we're all protected by the First Amendment and having your own opinion. And calling out bullcrap, that regardless if that's the government or other people, calling out people is not inciting violence.
And guess what? If everyone hit their 4D and everyone thought on a 4D mindset, instead of being spoon-fed these synthetic emotions and these synthetic mindsets, we'd see a lot more people sticking up for themselves. And we'd see a lot more people sticking up for others. I got suspended 3 years of middle school for fighting. I was sticking up for myself and others. But yet I'm an evil man. I'm a terrible man. I'm a violent man. But no, like that isn't me, and anyone who knows me knows that I'm not evil and I'm not violent. I'm here to have a good time. I'm here to make sure everyone is okay. And I know my purpose is to help people regrow. And I'd love to see people regrow into something way better and back into themselves, I should say. That's why we call it regrown. But when they regrown themselves into them again and being their own
Their
independent
true self.
thinker.
Their
Yes,
true self.
their true self, trying to hit their 5D self. And they make these sacrifices in their lives to be able to get there each day and day in and day out. It's a powerful thing. And those people will thank you. And you can make that difference too. Just like Joy and I are doing with people's lives. You guys can make that too. Whenever you want to. Whenever you start thinking with your 4D mindset, guess what? You're that radio frequency tower, that radio broadcasting tower. That you will spread that to others. And other people are going to be motivated by you. Mm-hmm. It's a powerful thing. And that's why we say it's spreading the seed and watching people regrow into themselves.
Yep. And well, so I guess that's pretty much all it for 4D. I mean, 5D is literally when you've conquered your mind, body, and spirit, and you're your divine self. And no outside source of influence can bring you down because you have achieved oneness with your mind, body, and spirit, and with the world around you. And that's where everyone should attain to be. Like everyone should strive to become the truest version of themselves. And once you have actually achieved that, because I know I haven't yet, I'm in 4D level of thinking right now, and it might take years before I hit my 5D level. But
But can you see your 5D self right now?
yes, I can see it coming. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Before I didn't. Before, when I was stuck in my one and two dimensional level of thinking, I lost no sense of purpose or direction. But then when I realized that I have to make that for myself and grow my mind, body, and spirit, now I can see the light of the tunnel. I can see the direction, the purpose where I'm set out to be. And, every day I strive more and more and more. Like I have my down days where I'm hard on myself, but, you learn from that and you grow. Nobody is perfect, and learn from your mistakes. Don't get consumed by them,
Exactly. And to end this, I'm going to say this. You heard Jordan and I drop the word bitch a few times. Jordan and I say this word to each other on the daily. We'll be in the gym, or we'll be doing something that we're not supposed to, and the other one will just look at the other and be like, hey, stop being a bitch. And guess what? There's no ill intent behind it, because you're letting that person know You are not being you. You are not doing the thing that you have to be the best you.
Yeah, and your true friends, no matter what, will hold you accountable for your bullshit. They're not going to allow you, if someone really cares about you, they're not going to enable that your toxic behavior to yourself. They're going to call you out on it and try to get you back on track, and vice versa. Like you should be doing that. You should be guiding your friends in the right direction, and it should also be reciprocated. And that's how you grow together, and that's how you build the community. And this is how together we're going to create a much better world for ourselves and our future generations.
Exactly. I think we're about to wrap it up here for the day, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys have any questions, message us on Instagram at ReGrown Podcast. And we also have a Facebook page. You can send us a message there. Either Jordan and I will respond to you. And yes, have a great day.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll stay in touch, and we'll see you next time.